Now I'm going to show you how to start rolling out your slab. You want to make sure that you are rolling on top of your piece of cloth or a canvas mat. You want to roll up and down and side to side, making sure you flip over your slab halfway through. Ideally, you're looking for 1/4 inch thickness. Now you'll take a piece of paper and measure out a template for your walls. For my box, I'm using a 5 by 5 inch template. Don't go any smaller than that, otherwise your images that you're going to use for decorations will be too small. Roll out your first slab. Put your template on top of your slab, making sure that the whole template fits on top of the piece of clay. Dip your tool into the water and then cut your slab out. You may have noticed that the second template does not fit on the bottom. So I'm taking a part of my slab from the top, adding it to the bottom so that I can completely trace my template again without having to re-roll a whole brand new slab. Each of my slabs are 1/4 inch thick. Now we need to use slip for this project, not just water. We're going to tear small pieces of clay off of the block, use a paintbrush, and stir it around with that water until it gets to a mud-like consistency. Now we're going to start assembling our box. We want to make sure that we're scoring all edges that will meet up with our other pieces. We need 4 walls and 1 base. We're going to add our slip to the edge that will touch the next side. You're always going to work in an L fashion by putting one wall up and putting the next 90-degree wall up so that they can balance each other out. As you can see, the walls are not very pretty right now. We're going to do all that cleaning up later. We want to make sure that we're adding a little bit of slip and scoring those walls together so you get a nice perfect bond. The important thing that we're going to do now is we're going to add a coil wherever 2 walls meet. That includes the side to the bottom and side to side. Again, you'll tear off a small little piece of clay, roll out a coil, and put that into wherever the 2 walls meet. Now we're going to add our third wall. You're going to again score anywhere that the 2 walls meet. You'll press those 2 edges together with your fingers. Then again, you're going to add a coil where the side to side meets and the side to the base meet. You can use any tool that you'd like, but I found that a plastic butter knife works really well. Now it's time to add the last wall. This wall is going to be a little bit tricky because it may not line up perfectly. But again, take a little bit of slip and press together those 2 walls or the 2 sides. And you may notice that you find a little bit of a gap. Don't worry, because all you have to do is take a coil and fill in that gap. You don't have to worry about making everything super perfect right now because we are going to be manipulating the box a little bit as we add our design. I've chosen to create a Disney-themed lantern, so I found a few silhouettes on Google. You can either print out your images or you can trace them using the guided access. We're going to trace our images onto our box by using a dull tool, whether it's the wooden tool that's provided in your kit or you might have a needle tool at home. Trace around your design as quickly as you can and then peel away the paper. Think about the areas that you're going to cut out. If I would have drawn Cinderella's arm connected to her dress, the entire silhouette would have fallen out. So I had to carefully make sure that I left a gap. If there's a little bit of paper left behind, it's not a big deal. Now here's where the tricky part comes. You want to make sure that you are tracing along the lines using either a paper clip or a needle tool. You want to keep wiping the tool off after every pass. Make sure that there's not a buildup of clay on your tool, and you keep adding water onto your tool so that it glides through the clay and doesn't rip it. I switched over to a needle tool to get a little bit finer, thinner lines. After you've traced over the lines a few times, going deeper and deeper after every pass, now you can start pulling away some of the bigger chunks of your silhouette that you'd like to cut out. You can start cleaning up your rough edges, but just by painting water around them to smooth them down. You're going to also want to clean up the back. This design I wasn't too sure of, so I decided to do something else. I'm just drawing some Mickey heads by hand, but again, I'm going to slowly press into the clay, layer by layer, until I feel like I've gone through 1/4 inch of the clay. If I start to take the needle tool and press too hard all at once, I may collapse my wall. I was experimenting with a lot of different tools for my carving, paper clips, toothpicks, but also if you have a pin, you could tape it to the end of a pencil and use that as a carving tool, especially for very fine lines. Here's my last side. Again, I just wanted to see what it would look like lit up. I'm going to go back and make sure that all of my lines are nice and clean and smooth. I would recommend using either glow sticks or Christmas lights in your lantern. Once you're satisfied with all of your carvings, go back and smooth out any fingerprints or any imperfections in your walls.